Good morning, dear children, in this beautiful Wednesday morning, and I am happy to welcome you all to my biology class. I believe in the name of Jesus that you are all doing safe and great. So before we start today's class, let me introduce myself. This is Bensi, and I will be teaching you both botany as well as zoology. So you have a single textbook for biology, but your classes will be separately for botany as well as zoology, and I am your class teacher as well, you know, right? So today let's start our first botany class with chapter 1, that is tissues. What is the name of the lesson? Tissues. So before learning about tissues, have you heard about cells? What are cells? Just like when we build the house, it is all made of bricks, right? The house is all constructed out of bricks. So units of bricks only will construct a house. Similarly, any living organism, whether it is a plant or it is an animal, any living organism are all made up of cells. Just like how a house is all made up of bricks, the living organisms, either a plant or an animal, are all made up of cells. So any living organism's body will be full of cells. Okay. So these cells, a group of cells is called the tissues. So what are tissues? A group of cells are called as tissues. So we'll start the class. Tissues are a group of cells. What group of cells? I cannot pick one cell from my head and one from the toe and call it as a tissue, because it is group of cells. I cannot mismatch like that. In the case of plants also, I cannot take a root hair cell and I cannot pick a leaf cell and call it as a tissue. It should have certain special rule. Okay, what is that rule? It should be, the cells should be from the same origin. What is same origin? It must be from the same place. Okay, the production, the formation should be from the same place. If it is leaf, it should all be from the leaves. If it is root, it should be all be from the roots. It should be from the same origin. Second, same functions. Each cell have separate functions. Say for example, if it is a root cell, its function is to absorb the water, right? At the same time, if it is a leaf cell, what would be its function? Its function would be different. It would be photosynthesis. So, what I can call tissues? A group of cells with the same functions. First point is, it should be from the same origin, that is, it should be from the same place. A group of cells in the same place can be called as tissues, not from different locations. And the second one is, it should be of same function. If it is a root hairs, it should be all absorption. One cell cannot perform photosynthesis and one cell cannot perform absorption of water. It should have the same functions. So these two rules are there for considering cells as tissues. So now do you know what is a tissue? A tissue is a group of cells, and those group of cells should be from the same place and it should have same functions. So those bunch of cells, you can call it as tissues. Are you clear with the term tissues? Because this lesson is all about tissues. So without knowing the meaning for the word, you cannot understand further. So a group of cells from one single place and with the same function, you call as tissues. Tissues are of two types. Okay, you can classify tissues into two types. What are those two types? One is called as meristematic tissue and the second one is called as permanent tissue. So these group of cells are categorized into two types. One is called as meristematic tissue and the second one is called as permanent tissues. So these group of cells, certain cells have the ability to divide again and again. They would be dividing. What is division? One cell will become two cells, two cell will become four cells. It will be in that vary. One will not become three. Okay, one cell will divide into two cells will divide into 4. Okay, so why you need cell division? Cell division is growth. When you are in a small age, you will be small in size, right? After some years you will be growing bigger and bigger. What is happening? It is not the food that is stored inside your body, right? Because of the food, you are not becoming bigger in size. The actual process happening is there is cell division. As you grow up and up, each cell becomes, say for example, initially you have one cell, okay? So when this one cell becomes two cell, see I have larger area, right? The size becomes bigger. Initially only this much I had, now the size is bigger. Why? Because initially there was only one cell, now I have two cells which will increase in height as well as thickness, which means you will grow this way, and also thickness is even the plant, it applies both for plants and the human beings. The size, the height as well as the thickness can be called as growth. At the same time, when two cells divide into four, see the thickness and the height is also more, thickness is also more, okay? So in this way, when there is cell division, it results in growth, okay? So what did I tell you? These meristematic tissues divide throughout their life. So these group of cells, tissues are group of cells, right? So these group of cells function is, they will be dividing again and again, and this will result in the growth of the plant, okay? Whereas permanent tissues, once they are formed, they will never divide again, which means they will not grow in height or thickness forever. Once it is formed, it will remain as such till the plant dies. Okay, so plant tissues, the group of cells are of two types. One group of cells, what they do, they continuously divide and divide again, that is called as meristematic tissues. The other group of cells, what they do, once they are formed, they will never divide again, they stay as such until their death. So they are called as permanent tissues. The cells which divide is called meristematic tissues, and those which do not divide, they are called as permanent tissues. So clear? Tissues, if it divides, it is called meristematic. If it does not divide, it is called as permanent tissues. Again, these meristematic tissues, depending upon the location where it is present. See, each tissue will be, just like I told you about leaf and root, every tissue will have special place or location in a plant. Based on their location, based on where it is present in the plant, they are of three types called as apical meristems, which are on the tip of the plant. Apical meristems are on the tip of the plant. Say for example, the tip of the shoot or the tip of the root. Can you see the blue circle represents apical meristems? What did I tell you? Meristematic tissues are the tissues which will divide repeatedly again and again, and this will result in the growth of the growth in height as well as in thickness, I told you. So where they are present, apical meristems are all the meristems present in the tip of either the root or the shoot of the plant. Okay, see the second one is called lateral meristems. Where are lateral meristems? They are found on the sides. There are side branches. Can you see? This is growing just upwards, whereas in side branches also there is growth. You can see growth in the side branches also, no? The sides are called as lateral. If it is lateral, it means that it is the sides. So they are called lateral meristems because there is growth in the side branches. See the red color. So what have we studied? Meristematic tissues, that is the tissues which divide again and again, are called meristematic tissues. Depending upon the place where they divide, they are categorized as apical meristems, lateral meristems and intercalary meristems. So apical meristems is shown in blue color. At the tip of the root and the shoot they are found. So because of this, the tips can be extending in height, they will grow in height. Okay, then the second one is lateral meristems. They are not found in the tip, they are found only on the side branches because the word lateral means sides. Okay, so here in the red portion it can grow well. So it is called lateral meristem. Intercalary meristem. See, between two branches you can find some space. Each branch is called a node. This is called one node and this is called another node. The space between two nodes is called internodes. You can see one branch here, no? in any plant, if you take a plant and see, there will be space between two points of stem or the branches, right? So each point is called a node, and the space between two nodes is called as internode. Inter means in between two nodes is called internodes. So that is the place where this type of meristem is found, which is called as intercalary meristems. Where is the intercalary meristems? See, I told you, the green portion, the region between two nodes is called intercalary meristems. This is the location of, so this portion, if it needs to grow, it is because of the presence of intercalary meristems. Are you getting this concept? So overall, how the plant grows in size because of these three meristems. When it grows on the tip, which is involved, apical meristem is involved. When it grows by the side, which is involved, lateral meristems are involved. And when it grows in between, the node length also has to increase, because apical will elongate only at the tip. So in between regions of two nodes are grown because that growth takes place because of the intercalary meristems. So this is all about meristematic tissue. Then you have two types of permanent tissues. One is called simple tissue and another one is called complex tissue. What is permanent tissue? I told you, permanent tissues never divide. Once they are formed, they stay as such till they are death. They will not divide again. Okay, it is called simple when it is made up of one type of cells. Okay, one type of cells alone, if it is present, then it is called as simple tissue. If it has two or more types of cells, see the word tissue, I just told you it is a group of cells. I did not tell about the types, right? That group can have either same type of cells or that group can also have different types of cells, that is more than one type of cells. So if it is all of the same type of cells, then that group is called simple tissue. In case if there are more than one type of cells or more than two types of cells, it is called as complex tissues. Only one type of cells if it is present, it is called simple, and if there are many types of cells mixed together, then it is called complex tissue. About these permanent tissues we will be learning in detail in the next class. However, just know the types alone. There are three types of simple tissues called as parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So what you do, repeat these words twice or thrice, or even you can write in your notebook, and for learning the spellings, you write again and again until these terms are familiar to you, until it gets registered in your mind. Please repeat the words or write in your notebook, because about these only you are going to learn in the later portion of this lesson. Okay, I know these words are new to you and bit complicated. Just for that, you can repeat the words and write it once or twice until you learn them. So what are the three types of simple tissues? Parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. I will teach a easy method for you to remember these terms. Okay, just listen now, then I will teach you. Then there are two types of complex tissues called as xylem, phloem. So what are complex tissues? More than one type of cells it should have, right? More than two or more. So what are those two types? Xylem and phloem. So all these terms you just remember now. In the next class we will learn about the properties of, about this we have finished, right? Where they are found all we have seen. Where are these found? What are the properties? What will be their structure? All these we will be learning in a next class. Now I will tell you a story like thing you can remember easily. Okay. So what have I written? Ali, Pieces, XP. Okay. So just to remember these terms, like a story I will tell you. Okay. What is Ali? Ali is a man. Okay, this man Ali has PCs. What is PC? Personal computer. Okay, he has lots of PCs. The man Ali has lots of PCs, and in his PCs what he has done, he has installed XP, Windows XP he has installed. Just keep this in your mind. What did I tell you? There is a man called Ali. This man has PCs, and in his PCs he has installed Windows XP. Okay, so why I have written this? A for apical, L for lateral, I for intercalary, P for parenchyma, C for collenchyma, S for sclerenchyma, X for xylem, and P for phloem. So now you can remember Ali's PCs have XP and recollect these terms so that you are not confused. Usually children write example for simple that xylem into here and they change and write. Just to avoid that confusion, I have given like this. You can remember this story and learn the terms. Of course, with P for pig you should not write, okay. So P for parenchyma. So just to remember the terms, as I told you, you can write and see and repeat the words several times to keep these words memorized. So next we learn about meristematic tissues. In some of the properties of meristematic tissues we learn. Okay, already you have studied that meristematic tissues are of three types: apical, lateral, and intercalary. So this meristematic tissue is also called by another name called as meristem. Meristematic tissues can simply or commonly called as meristems. Meristematic tissues are called as meristems. And then from where you got this word? See, when you name something, the person who first discovers something, no? If I discover something, if I find something, I will name it. I have that power to or authority to name what I discover. So this man, whoever discovered, he has named the tissue as meristematic tissues from the Greek word called meristos. In Greek, there is a word called meristos. What does it mean? Meristos is a Greek word, right? So what does it mean in English? Meristos means divisible, which means it can be divided. Something which can be divided is called as meristos in Greek. So this man, when he named the word meristematic tissues, he used this word meristos because it is divisible. We have seen, no, meristematic tissues are special in the way because they have repeated cell division. So that is the property, no. So he has used meristos to name it. Okay, so we have studied already meristematic tissues have a special property, that is they actively divide, whereas permanent tissues do not divide, and they are young cells. Always dividing cells will be new cells, right? So that's why it is called as young cells. And then where you can find, where all you can find, you have seen, no, where all you saw as examples. Apical is found in the tip, lateral is found in the side, then intercalary is found in between the internodes we have studied. But overall, where you can find meristematic tissues, if I ask you, you can just remember the concept: wherever there is growth in a plant. What did I tell? Wherever there is growth, whichever part of the plant has growth, there all you can see meristematic tissues, because I told you cell division is equal to growth. If there is cell division, it means the plant is growing. If there is cell division in human beings also, for you also, you are all growing children, your cell divides, that's why you increase in height and thickness, that is the weight. So where you can find meristematic tissues? Wherever there is growth in the plant, either on the tip or the sides or the internodes, there all you can find meristematic tissues. What is the result of meristematic tissues? So when you have meristematic tissues, there is increase, I told you already, there is increase in length, that is the height, as well as there is increase in thickness of the plant. As the plant, big trees are all very thick, right? Initially it would be in their younger stage, it would be very thin. Why? Because after growth only it increases in thickness also. So the result of meristematic tissues, when you have meristematic tissues in a plant, it would result in increase in length as well as increase in thickness. Where all it will happen? Both in the shoot region, that is in the stem region, as well as in the root region. So next we learn about the 4 characteristics of meristematic tissues. Why should you learn about the characteristics of meristematic tissues? Why you need to learn characteristic of any cell type? Because if I give you a bunch of cells, many cells together, you should know to pick out the meristematic cells or tissues. How will you know? Each cell will have different characteristic, right? Based on those characteristics, say for example, some cells will have a large nucleus, some will have very closely packed cells. So based on these characteristics, you can pick out the cell. So it is essential to learn the characteristics of every type of cell. So here there are 4 main characteristics given in your book. The first characteristic of meristematic tissues are they are closely packed to each other. What does this mean? They don't have intercellular spaces. Intercellular space means the space between two cells. Suppose there are two cells. How much space is, whether they are arranged spatially, whether there is gap in between or if they are closely packed, you should learn. So here in this case what is said, there is no intercellular space, which means there is no gap at all between two cells in meristematic tissues. So they are closely packed. The second characteristic is they are either spherical, oval or polygonal in shape. What is the spherical and oval? You know, I guess. And polygonal cells will appear like this. Okay, so this, if it is arranged in this way without being a circle or a sphere, if it is like this structure, many sides are polygonal. So it is more than 5 or 6 you will be having. So it is called polygonal, and you have dense cytoplasm, large nucleus and thin cell wall. This is a special property. The protoplasm, what is protoplasm? Protoplasm is equal to cytoplasm plus nucleus. You call a term protoplasm for something which has both cytoplasm and nucleus. Nucleus separately you call it as nucleus, cytoplasm you call it as cytoplasm, but when you combine both, it has a new term called as protoplasm. That protoplasm is very dense. It means it is very thick in nature, it is sticky in nature. Meristematic tissues, protoplasm is usually denser or thicker than the other types of cells, and it has a very large nucleus. When you look into the cell itself, you will know that it is a meristematic tissue because the nucleus size will be very large, and the thin wall, thin cell wall is also a unique characteristic of meristematic tissues. And the last characteristic is they are living cells. What does this mean? Some cells are even dead. So in a plant for many years together, it remains dead until it peel off from the bark of the plant. That's why this differentiation is highlighted. Because, whereas in the case of meristematic tissues, it is living cells, it is not dead. Okay, so what are the 4 characteristics of meristematic tissues? First one is they are closely packed, there is no space between them, so they are called as there are no intercellular spaces between two cells, no space. Then they may either be spherical in shape, oval in shape or polygonal in shape. The third point is they have dense cytoplasm, large nucleus and thin cell wall. Finally, the unique characteristic is they are all living cells, they are not dead. So now what you are going to study is about the characteristic of each meristematic tissues. We have studied overall differentiation, that is apical means it exists in the tip, lateral means it appears in the sides, and intercalary means it appears between the nodes. So we have a rough picture. So a little more about each type of meristematic tissues we will learn now. So the first type is apical meristems. You know, always apical meristems are found in the tip of the plant, where tip of the shoot or tip of the root, either the shoot's tip will have apical meristem or the root's tip will have apical meristems. Why? Because the root also grows, no? How shoot grows above the ground, root also extends downward. As many years pass by, the roots will be very deep because it also grows in length. And then, so what will the result of this apical meristem's presence? It will increase the height of the plant. The height of the plant, in exam you may get questions like which type of meristem increases the height of the plant. So what will be your answer? Apical meristems. Why? Because it is the one found on the tip extending the length of the plant. Then this type of growth where you get the height, you call it as primary growth. What is it called? Primary growth. Why? What is primary growth? If the length or the height of the plant increases, you term by the word called as primary growth. So this is about apical meristems. What are the three properties? Number one, wherever apical meristems are present, there all you can find increase in the height of the plant. And the special character of apical meristems, the key word is it is present in the tips. The tip may either be a shoot tip or it may be a root tip. And then this type of growth where you find increase in the height or the length is called as primary growth. So this is all about apical meristems. Next we learn about the lateral meristems. So where all you can find lateral meristems? For lateral meristems, the key word is lateral or the sides. So if there is a plant on both the sides, wherever there is growth, the branches all will have lateral meristems. So here also it is found in the roots as well as in the stem. How it is present in the roots? In roots also there is growth at the sides, no? Root does not grow only towards the ground, right? If it will be scattered on the sides also. So wherever you can find growth by the sides, there all you find lateral meristems. Either it is a shoot or a root. Shoot means the portion above the ground. Okay. So in stems, wherever you have side branches, and in roots also, wherever the roots can spread sidewards, they all have this type of meristem that is called as lateral meristems. So what is the result of lateral meristems? Increase in thickness. You should compare with apical meristem. What was the result of apical meristem? Increase in length or increase in height. Here, since it grows sidewards, you call it as increase in thickness, because it is not in height but in width or in thickness, or the technical term used for thickness is girth. The girth of the plant will increase, which is nothing but the thickness of the plant will increase because of the presence of lateral meristems. So this type of growth, growing sidewards, is called secondary growth. If something grows by height or length, you call it as primary growth, but if there is growth by sidewards, you call it as secondary growth. So clear about lateral meristems. What have you seen? It increases wherever there are lateral meristems, it increases by the sides, and then it is present both in the stem as well as in the root system. And here the increase in the thickness is called by a technical term called as girth, increase in the girth size. And if the thickness of a plant increases, that type of growth is called as secondary growth. So last type of, and one more point where you can find, there are two special places, unique places where you find this meristems, the lateral meristems. Where are the two? What did I tell you? There are two special places in a plant where you can find these lateral meristems. The first place is called cork cambium. So memorize these terms. The first place is called cork cambium and the second place is called vascular cambium. So what are these? I will tell you later. So just know the words cork cambium and vascular cambium. Cork cambium is below the bark. You have seen the bark of the tree, right? That is the thick portion which you can peel it out. So just beneath the bark you find this called as cork cambium, and below you have vascular cambium, right? So where is that vascular cambium? It is between the xylem and the phloem. So where is the vascular cambium? Between xylem and phloem. What are xylem and phloem? Xylem and phloem are conducting tissues, right? So in that place you can find vascular cambium. These both are important in exam point of view. They may ask you what is the speciality of lateral meristems, or which type of meristems have cork cambium and vascular cambium. You have to write it is present in only lateral meristems, because in apical and internodal meristems these are absent. So cork is below the bark and vascular cambium is in between, like a sandwich between xylem and phloem. What is present? Vascular cambium is present. So these are all about lateral meristems. The last type of meristem described in your book is intercalary meristems. Where it is found, you know, inter is in between the nodes, that's why it is called inter. Whereas in between what it is present? Between two nodes of a plant, and also sometimes it is present in the leaf base. What is the leaf base? The base of the leaf is called the leaf base. There also you can sometimes find intercalary meristems. What is the output of intercalary meristems? The internodal length, that is the length between two nodes will increase. There will be increase in the size between two nodes, and this type of meristems, that is intercalary meristems, is common in monocotyledonous plants. You have two types of plants, right? Either monocots or dicots. This type of meristems, that is intercalary meristems, is common in monocots than compared to dicots. Okay, so what have you studied about intercalary meristems? Three properties, right? First, where it is present? It is present between two nodes, and it extends there is growth in the length of the internode. Since it is present between two nodes, the length of the nodes alone, internodes alone, increase. It's not about the apical or the tip, it is between only two nodes. And the last one what we have studied is where it is common. It is common in monocot plants than the dicot plants. So that is all for the class for today, and we will be continuing about the complex tissues in our next class. Okay, in your every class I will be giving you some homework or activity, and what you have to do is you have to finish off your homework very fast and send the picture of your homework where you have written to this number. This is my number, send it to me, and I will be announcing the name of the student who sends me the first right answer in your next botany class. Not in your next zoology class, in your next botany class I will be announcing the name whoever has sent me the homework first, but also the answers should be correct. I will tell the names in the next class. Okay, so that's all for the class today. So until I meet you in your next class, take care and bye bye.